Hi, this is Madhu from madhufinance.com. Today we are going to look at production linked incentive scheme. We all know government incentives and subsidies in India have been a big part of how we run business in India. One of the things that we are very good at is in the software side of things. But unfortunately, we have been lagging on the manufacturing side of things. A lot of our neighboring countries, Bangladesh, China being a global leader in manufacturing, have far outpaced India. And one of the things that our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji had introduced through the Atmanirbhar scheme, self-reliance in manufacturing and every other aspect of industry, and to be a global part of the supply chain in manufacturing. So I'm going to look at some of the key points that we have done research on this PLI scheme. So the PLI scheme, as the name says, it is a production linked incentive scheme. So the incentive is on incremental production. So the PLI scheme gives companies incentives on incremental scales generated from products manufactured in the domestic units. It aims to reduce the country's dependence on imports and encourages the local manufacturers to expand their operations. It is believed to be enhancing India's manufacturing capabilities and exports, enabling the Atmanirbhar scheme. So the PLI scheme was introduced earlier, 5-6 months back, and initially it was set for just the 10 sectors with an outlay of 1.45 lakh crores. Recently, Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji had increased it to 13 sectors with a total outlay now of 1.97 lakh crores. So some of the key objectives of the PLI scheme is that to encourage exports and make sure that exports is a critical component of India's growth story. And at the same time, PLI scheme also incentivizes certain product areas where we need to be a global competitive player. These 13 sectors are the champion sectors that India has identified to expand. We also want to promote manufacturing at home by offering production incentives and encourage investments both from within and outside. So the scheme in total, on average, extends an incentive of 4 to 6% on incremental sale over the base year of 2019-2020, the financial year 2019-2020. So all of this incentive is based on incremental sales over the financial year 2019 and 2020. So now we are going to look at the 13 sectors that are identified, the champion sectors that have been identified through the PLI scheme, and how much money has been allotted for that. The biggest one is the automobile sector. It's allotted 57,000 crores out of the 1.97 lakh crores, 57,000 crores, almost 30% of the allocation goes to the automobile sector. A lot of it is to encourage manufacturing of autos and also focus on the electric vehicle industry. The second biggest allotment goes to the mobile manufacturing and specified electronic component. This one is almost 41,000 crores. The second biggest allotment goes to the mobile manufacturing sector. Then we are talking about the advanced chemistry cell, ACC battery. As I said, the move from fossil fuels to electric is something that this government really wants to focus on. So around 18,000 crores have been allotted to this sector, followed by a pharmaceutical industry for which 15,000 crores has been allotted. The textile manufacturing industry has received nearly 10,680 crores of allotment through this scheme. So very important allotment for textile industry as well. The other sectors that have been allotted are all listed here on the screen, and you can take a quick look at those. That adds up to, as I said, 1,97,000 crores. So what is the criteria of eligibility for this one? So who is eligible to apply for the PLI scheme? So first thing is you have to be operating from India. So you have to be registered in India and manufacturing in India. So it's obviously about encouraging manufacturing in India. So the manufacturing has to happen in India. The second thing is the investment amount. So for MSMEs, companies that are classified as MSMEs, the incremental investment is 10 crores. For larger companies, it is 100 crores. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. So this is the minimum amount required for investment. And this whole application process has been automated. It takes roughly 3 to 4 months for you to be authorized and be brought into this PLI scheme. One last thing to remember is that any additional expenditure incurred by companies on plant, machinery, equipment, PPE, right, research, development, R&D, whatever it might be, can be eligible for this incentive scheme. So all those can be included in the 10 crore or the 100 crore that we earlier talked about. Okay. So now we're going to take a look at two sectors, key sectors that I have had a lot of interest about this scheme, and then the other sectors I will cover in the subsequent videos. The first sector I want to talk about is electronics. So the government's push for data localization, privacy has been a big issue, and government's worried about foreign countries and powers getting hands onto the national data, the important data, and that is been a big concern. So Internet of Things market in India, the IoT market, projects such as Smart City, Digital India are expected to increase the demand for electronic products, right? So the PLI scheme will boost the production of these electronic products in India. According to the scheme, companies that make mobile phones which sell for rupees 15,000 or more will get an incentive of up to 6% on incremental sales of all such mobile phones in India. This is a really big boost for manufacturing mobile phones in India. We know that a lot of the Chinese apps have been banned, but Chinese mobile manufacturers are still a big part of the Indian market, and this might pave way for local manufacturing and encourage Indian manufacturers to produce smartphones. The last point to remember is that specified electronic component manufacturers and domestic mobile manufacturers can also receive an incentive up to 6%, which will have a subsequent decrease in the following years. So that wraps up the electronic industry, and the next industry we're going to take a look at is the textile industry. So in textile industry, as you know, we have a significant competition from neighboring countries including Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. So what the government is targeting right now is the man-made fiber and the technical textiles, even though there has been a significant push to include the natural fibers like cotton and silk. And we have just recently seen that the customs duty being increased for cotton from 0 to 10% and for silk from 10% to 15%. So there is a good chance that we will see these natural fibers, cotton and silk and jute, being included in the PLI scheme. Let's hope that is the case. But to get into the nitty-gritties, so there are two major categorization of companies, existing companies in brownfield projects. So anyone making over 100 crores in turnover, remember this is all based on financial year 2019 to 2020. So if you are making turnover more than 100 crore, then you are eligible. So the first category is between 100 crore and 500 crores of turnover. If you are in that category, you will get a 9% incentive for incremental turnover as long as it is more than 50%. So the growth has to be more than 50% in each of the next 5 years. Then you will be eligible for 9% in the first year. This incentive will go down by 1% every subsequent years. So the second year is going to be 8%, the third year is going to be 7%. But every year you will have to grow your incremental turnover by 50%. If you are a company with more than 500 crores in turnover in the 2019-2020 period, then you will get 7% in incremental incentive. So if you are making more than 500 crores in 2019-2020 time period, you will have to grow by 50% in the first year, but after that even 25% of growth is acceptable. So you don't have to grow at the high clip as the smaller companies, but the first year you still have to grow by 50%. Then you can even grow at a pace of 25% or more. So here the incentive is a little less, 7%. Again, just like the 100 to 500 category, the incentive will go down by 1% every subsequent year. So the 7% is going to be 6% the second year, 5%, 4%, and 3% in the fifth year. For greenfield projects, there is an additional incentive. So if your existing company and you want to do a greenfield investment of more than 500 crores of investment, and that generates additional 1,500 crores of revenue, then you will get 11% incentive through the PLI scheme. So this is for greenfield projects. Keep it in mind. So two categories on the brownfield side, existing companies, anything under 500 crores is getting 9%. Less than that, you're getting 7%, and greenfield projects is 11%. I hope that is helpful, and I wish we will expand the scheme to the smaller, micro and smaller companies. As I know, there are so many companies in India that manufacture garments are under 100 crores. All the very best in using this scheme and growing together. This is Madhu signing off. Bye.